We've got a barn burner for you, ladies and gentlemen, because James Comer demands answers. James Comer demands documents. James Comer demands that Alvin Bragg come in and give testimony. It's time for America's fastest growing game show, Hack of the Week! Joining me as always, my lovely assistant, Jake Tapper. Jake, why don't you get us started?
One of the Republicans behind the request, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman James Comer, Republican of Kentucky. Mr. Chairman, thanks so much for joining us. You just wrote a new letter to Manhattan DA Bragg defending your decision to investigate his office, saying that you're considering taking legislative action to prevent presidents from, quote, politically motivated prosecution.
Well, what the DA is trying to say is what you just quoted. He said stay out of local investigations. The problem with that is this is not a local investigation. This is a federal investigation. He's investigating a presidential candidate, not to mention former president of the United States, for a federal election crime.
You know very well it's a New York State tax issue. That's worth 10 points. You're on the board.
That has no business being litigated in a local district attorney's office. And when he says he's not going to cooperate with Congress, unfortunately for Mr. Bragg, he doesn't have the luxury of determining whether or not he can comply with congressional requests.
Yes, he does. My God, how did this man even get elected? That's worth another 10 points. You're up to 20.
Because he crossed over two levels of government, from the local level to the federal level, to try to prosecute something that clearly, if there was a reason for prosecution, it should be done by the Department of Justice on the federal level.
Well, he's investigating, as I understand it, potential violations of state crimes.
Even at that, look, let's just be honest here. I mean, this is about politics. This is a presidential candidate.
Even at that? Well, that's just hackability bullshit right there. That's another 10 points. You're up to 30. You're riding high there.
When you look at what we believe the role of the Manhattan DA should be, is to fight crime.
Whoa, maybe this guy's actually an idiot.
We believe that our tax dollars, and that's where I come in with the House Oversight Committee, we believe tax dollars would be better spent prosecuting local criminals. That's what a DA is supposed to do.
Are you arguing that people who commit business crimes are not committing crimes?
Oh, yes, he is.
Look, well, is this a business crime? We're talking about a federal election crime here, Jake.
Yes, he is. I'm sorry, but that's worth 20. You're up to 50. What a hack piece of shit this guy is. Outstanding.
This is a federal election crime. The Manhattan DA does not write federal election laws.
My understanding is that he's being investigated for falsifying business records. There was a related prosecution. Michael Cohen went to prison. That was a federal investigation from the U.S. attorney during the Trump years. But that U.S. attorney, Mr. Berman, prosecuted, and Mr. Kuzami prosecuted Michael Cohen. He went to prison for that as well as related crimes. I don't remember hearing anything from you during that period. I guess he wasn't a candidate, but he had been working for Donald Trump.
That was a U.S. attorney that prosecuted.
Right.
We're talking about a local attorney. And look, if you open a can of worms here, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have county attorneys in red areas, in parts of Kentucky, rural Kentucky, where I am, that are going to start trying to overreach into federal election laws. This is something that if it needs to be investigated or prosecuted, it should be done on the federal level by the Department of Justice. This is a presidential candidate. What one frustration Republicans have in Congress is that we keep having interference in our elections. I know the Democrats complained about that, rightfully so, when James Comey, just a few weeks or a few days before the presidential election in 2016, said that Hillary was being investigated for mishandling emails. Look, that shouldn't have happened.
You know, I've been broadcasting this game show for nearly 20 years now, and I've never actually come this far. I'm gonna have to say you can fuck right off with that bullshit. That was to y'all's benefit. You knew it.
That shouldn't have happened, and we keep having stuff like this happen in our elections.
Comey saved that election for you, so y'all can just fuck right off with that.
We just want the government out of our elections. We don't believe tax dollars should be spent for this. We believe this is a political stunt by Mr. Bragg. We believe the statute of limitations has expired on all of this stuff. Clearly, if there's something that rises to criminal level, then that should be done on the federal level.
He hasn't. I mean, you keep asserting what this investigation is, and what if District Attorney Bragg comes forward with an indictment, with evidence, and proof that Donald Trump did commit these crimes? You still think he shouldn't be charged?
Well, we believe that he should come explain to us exactly what he's investigating.
Absolutely will not answer the question. That's worth another 20. You're up to 70.
Exactly what he's investigating, because at the end of the day, this is a presidential candidate. This is the, for better or worse, leading contender for the Republican nomination of the presidential election next year, as well as a former president of the United States.
Absolutely outstanding.
It's unprecedented for a local district attorney to investigate things that we believe the statute of limitations expired years ago. Now, look, if the special counsel that's looking into this wants to do something, if the Department of Justice wants to do something, then they probably, for better or worse, have the ability to do that.
The DOJ has the ability to deal with that. Well, I'll remember you said that later.
This is a local DA. We believe the local DAs need to be focused on business crimes, on burglary, on thefts, on carjackings, and all the things that we see happening in these big cities that are creating a crime crisis in America.
Theft and carjacking? Well, that's just typical whataboutism deflection. That's another 40 points. You're up to 110. Outstanding work. You're such a piece of shit.
They seem to think that you and your colleagues are going way beyond looking into the use of federal funds and are risking interfering in a local investigation of a private citizen allegedly accused of committing a crime that someone's already gone to prison for.
Again, this is a local investigation. It's not a sincere argument to say it's a local investigation when you're investigating a presidential candidate and the former president of the United States.
Isn't it Republicans who are always talking about states' rights and how the federal government needs to stand out of the way of the local people?
Again, we believe that this should be done on the federal level. We don't believe this is a good use of tax dollars. And if Mr. Bragg wants to come in and explain to us what he's doing, and he makes a good explanation, he makes a good argument, and we see that we're in an area where we shouldn't belong, such as some of the Republican senators say, then we'll back off.
But when push comes to shove, they're absolutely full of shit. That's some hackery bullshit. But you're not going to get any points for it, quite frankly, because it pissed me off.
But we're sick and tired of meddling in federal elections. And I don't believe that Bragg would be doing this if Donald Trump were not running for president. And that's something that we would like to ask Mr. Bragg as well. Would you be doing this if he weren't a declared candidate for president of the United States?
And of course, they always fall back to, it's because Trump is running. Isn't Trump always running? This will be the third time. Ha! Tell you what, that's some hack. That's another 20 points. You're up to 130.
If so, if this is the reason you're doing it, then this is a political investigation, and we again desperately want to keep, the Department of Justice from meddling in presidential elections.
But now he wants to desperately keep the DOJ from meddling. Man, just moments ago I thought you said,
look, if the special counsel that's looking into this wants to do something, if the Department of Justice wants to do something, then they probably, for better or worse, have the ability to do that.
That's worth another 20 points. You're up to 150.
Oh, I thought the issue was that it was a local prosecutor, not the Department of Justice.
The hackery runs strong with this one.
But let me ask you, if he refuses to come in willingly, will you subpoena him?
Well, that'll be up to Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan didn't comply with his.
I mean, he's the lead investigator in this particular situation. Jim Jordan is the lead, and he would be the one to answer that question.
Jim Jordan, who refused to comply with a congressional subpoena in the previous Congress.
Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary.
But continuously throughout the entire interview, looking like a moron, blankly into the camera, like a deer caught in the headlights. Well, that puts you well over the top to be our Hack of the Week.
All right. Chairman Comer, good to see you as always. Thank you so much.
That's right, James Comer. That's why you are our Hack of the Week. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Join us next time for